Dragon Quest IX is legit my absolute favorite game of all time. It's right up there with Borderlands 2 and Bloodborne. It is just simply an unbeatable experience for me. There's a lot of reasons for that. This video is those reasons. Alright, this time I'm even less prepared than last video. I don't even have a full sheet of notes. I have like a third of a sheet that's just a couple bullet points. That's fine though, because I still have a lot to talk about. So one of the biggest draws for me is that instead of just getting a whole bunch of random characters who at the beginning you have no connection to, you get to customize them. I mean, yeah, you have to go through a dungeon and beat a boss in order to get to a town that will let you actually customize your party. But once you do that, oh my god. So there's you, who you've already made yourself. You can already make him with super big red Vegeta hair like I did in my first playthrough. And then you can choose between 3 random people with random vocations, or you can make your own. And that's the best part. I remember making characters that's just the other 3 people in my family, my 3 siblings. It was just amazing. It was literally just like I can have one member of my family run up to someone and just slap them in the face, and then I walk up there and I'm just like, hey, I'm also a dude. Let's do this. It was, for a dumb 10-year-old kid, pretty sure I was 10 years old when the game came out, that kind of experience is one you can't exactly beat very easily. Recently I've also been playing through Dragon Quest XI, and that is an entirely different experience. I know that it's, you know, they're two entirely different beasts. One of them is on a modern-day consoles, and the other one is on just DS. Playing through Dragon Quest XI has reminded me just how different 9 is from the rest of the series. Those are the only 2 Dragon Quest games I've played. I'm only about maybe a quarter or a third of the way, closer to a third of the way through 11 so far. I haven't had a lot of time on my hands lately. And right off the bat, everything is completely different. You just get this one random kind of blank slate character who's actually really important, and then throughout the course of your journey, you meet a bunch of other characters who, their names and personalities and jobs are kind of preset. You can't really change them that much. The most you can do is maybe, like, you can have Eric focus on, like, swords instead of knives, and you could have Veronica wielding a whip instead of a big heavy wand. That's really the most that you're able to customize him. Like, Eric's still going to stay a rogue-type character. Veronica's still kind of going to stay a mage-like character. You can't really swap those two. Whereas in 9, you can make anybody whatever you want. That also leads me to another system that I thought was really fun, which is the vocation system. Vocations are kind of like class in this game, but in completely different ways. So while yes, you could have one party member who's purely a thief, and one party member who's purely a mage, one who's purely a priest, and then you, who's at the start a minstrel, which is kind of an all-around good stuff class. You don't have to stay that way forever. Once you get about a quarter of the way through the game, you meet this guy who can let you change vocations basically at any time. I mean, you have to meet with him, but that's it. You can switch between any of the main 6, and then you can unlock 6 more vocations as you play on through the game and do certain quests. It is spectacular. Like, you thought the warrior was cool? Now here's a gladiator. Go nuts. You thought the mage and the priest were kind of cool? Well, here's a sage. They're kind of a mixture of the two, and it is also very good. Then there's the weird stuff, like, hey, you can be a ranger, you could shoot people with bows or throw boomerangs at stuff. You can also be an armamentalist, which literally uses force power. Maybe I'll do an effect here or something, I really don't know right now. The best part of the vocation system, as people level up in those vocations, those levels stay there. If you're a level 13 minstrel and also a level 12 mage, those 2 levels are going to stay separate. You can swap between them at any time just by talking to the dude. Or later on, when you get the sage, you can learn a skill that lets you do it at any point at the cost of 4 mana. 3 mana? 4 mana? I don't remember anymore. Also, once you level up in the vocational skill trees and learn new abilities and learn new stat boosts, those are going to stay throughout your entire character. You can use any ability from any vocation at any time, as long as you've learned it. And also, every single time you get a stat boost, if you get plus 100 mana, for example, permanently, that stays, no matter what vocation you choose. So if you want to really power up in the game, here's my personal tip, train in all of the vocations. Or at least just train in, like, a couple. Like, if you want to be, like, a super mage, if you want to be the most powerful mage ever, you're going to want to train in mage. You want to max out the mage skill tree. You also want to take some stuff in Thief, I believe, a little bit of Minstrel. Minstrel's just kind of good at everything, so that'll leave you slightly more well-rounded. And you also want to max out Sage, too. If you want to be the best mage, like magic, throw fire at you kind of character, you're going to want to max out those trees, because once you do, oh my god, you get so many stat boosts related to that specific area. It is ridiculous. In fact, at the point of the game that I'm at right now, I've beaten the game, I've started doing some of the post-game stuff, which I'll get into in a little bit, and one of the big things I'm doing is I'm just changing everyone's vocations to whatever else I want, and I'm just training them in those, just gaining levels in that, getting skill points in that, throwing them directly into the skill trees. Because I want everybody to get as strong as possible, so that the rest of the post-game will be a lot more easy and a lot more fun. So I guess, while I'm on the topic, I want to talk about the post-game for a second. I don't really want to talk about too much of the main story because, I mean, spoilers, I suppose. If you want to know what happens in the main story, I'm gonna recommend that you either look up a guide or play it yourself. Or watch this video. This video is very good. I found this video about, like, a month or so ago, and it sums everything up very nicely in a very funny way, I gotta say. Link's also in the description, too. And I want to talk about the main story. If you know what it is, I'm not gonna re-explain it to you. If you don't know what it is, I don't want to spoil you on it. Just, you're gonna want to experience it. But the post-game is when stuff gets interesting. So, the post-game basically starts after you beat the main story. Once you beat the game, you get a big long cutscene, you're going, yeah, hooray, you did it, you beat the evil dude. And then you get one last shot, which is a certain item that you've needed throughout the games, going towards a certain area. That area is where you want to go to next. You go there, you start a quest, get a couple items, fight a boss again, and then you get access to an item that will allow you to just break the entirety of the rest of the game. Well, it doesn't really break the rest of the game, it breaks the travel. So, throughout the game, you go from having to walk everywhere, to being able to zoom from place to place, to getting a boat that will let you explore new areas, to now you get a magical flying train. That train flies around the entire map. You cannot go to any place that was of too high an elevation to get to, including one entire separate dungeon that gets you a lot of neat items that will really help you alchemize some of the really good items for the rest of the post-game. There's also a boss that we can't access anymore because we would need to download DLC through the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, and that was shut down back in 2013, I want to say? So, unfortunately, there's just a sleeping boss up there that we're never going to be able to fight. There's almost like 50 or so quests that we'll never be able to do, and a lot of armor sets, so... Sorry, Erdrick. I'm not going to wear your armor anytime soon. Okay, so while I was out on the evening walk, I completely forgot that I didn't record this bit. So, it actually turns out that somebody, after 6 full years of Nintendo Wi-Fi connection being shut down, somebody found a way to access it. Completely for free, no hacking required. I tested it earlier this week, and it completely works. There's going to be a video to it somewhere down in the description. I would recommend going to check it out because it's actually really cool. Now I've got another 50 or so hours of content. Heck yeah. I'm coming for you, Nod. Nodish? Whatever it's called. Wherever to the Tower of Nod, I'm coming for you. So once you get the flying train, basically the entire map is now open to you. You can do anything you want and go wherever you want, especially to all the grottos. So most of the post-game basically revolves around grotto splunking. You get one treasure map at one point in the game, just by doing a quest that's right next to a boss, I believe Garth Goyle. Once you do that, you fight that boss. Every time you beat the boss in the grotto dungeon, you get another map, which will give you another map, and eventually you'll be able to fight extraordinarily powerful bosses, and you will even find extremely rare items, and those items are very powerful at times. And now, alright, okay, I've got to talk about the biggest problem I have with the game, which is... the RNG is bullshit. What I mean by that is, specifically, if you want to get the most powerful gear in the game. Okay, so... here's how it works. There are 12 grotto bosses you can fight. The one you fight at the end of each grotto depends on the name. Look up a guide, you'll be able to see all of that. Each of those grotto bosses has about a 2% chance to drop any one armor piece. So if you fight the first boss over and over and over, roughly every 50 times, you're gonna get a single set of gloves. That is the 4th most powerful glove item in the game, basically. There's a lot of leeway there. There's a lot of stuff I'm kind of glossing over, but that's basically it. There's a 2% chance you will find basically the 4th or 5th most powerful glove item in the game. Once you do that, you're going to want to evolve it. How do you evolve it? Okay, here's what you gotta do. You gotta go all around the world, find a bunch of random items, alchemize them all together, and create one extremely hard to make item called an Agate of Evolution. Cool, you've got that. The Agate of Evolution also requires you to make 2 items that are difficult to make, requiring items that are sort of difficult to find, as well as maintain a spawn. And also something called a Chrono Crystal, which legit costs 50,000 gold coins. So, you hope you're saving all the money that you get from all that grotto splunking you're doing. So once you have the glove set, I'm using the glove set as an example now, and the Agate of Evolution, you need to get another item, which is an orb. You need to get a random colored orb. Those colored orbs, you can only get as a 4% chance drop from legacy bosses. Legacy bosses are exactly what they sound like. They have their own separate grotto maps, which have their own little ways to get them. Look up a guide, it's fine. And they're basically final bosses from other Dragon Quest games. The first one is Baramos, who's the final boss of Dragon Quest III. I don't know who he is, but I know he's there. So whatever, this is Baramos. He is the easiest of the legacy bosses, and if you are not at least level 55 with at least some vocation training and the strongest army you can get at that point, he will destroy you. So whatever, you get one color orb from him, but I'm pretty sure it's not the right one. I'm pretty sure you need an orb that isn't yellow, maybe red. I don't remember where you get that from. I haven't played that much of the very post game yet. So cool, now you have the right colored orb, you have the gloves, and you have a negative evolution. Cool. Combine them all together, you have the third most powerful in the game. Cool, that's done. Now you need that, plus 3 Agates of Evolution, plus 3 more of the same colored orb. Okay, so you do that. It takes forever, but you do that. Now, you have anywhere from a 10 to 50% chance to get the most powerful gloves item in the game. Otherwise, you just get the second. And if that happens, you can't take the second and alchemize it to the first. You instead have to get a separate item that costs a lot of mini medals to reset it back to the first form, do all of it again, and you cannot save scum that. The game automatically saves after you try to alchemize to get the first most powerful item. If you fail, too bad, the game is saved, you can't scum that. Now you gotta reset, do it again. So you're gonna do this for the helmet, the shield, the torso, the leggings, the boots, and the gloves. So I really hope that you like doing this for all 4 of your characters. That same process also happens with the strongest weapon forms of the game. There's, I want to say like 12 weapon types, so that's probably not accurate. Maybe it's closer to 10. But let's say there's 10 weapons, I don't remember off the top of my head. To get the most powerful weapons in the game, you need to go to very high level grottos with, the normal grotto bosses I mentioned earlier. You need to get to the blue chests. And there's only a 1% chance to get each weapon from the highest level chest, which rarely spawn, and only in the higher level dungeons. So cool. There's a 10% chance to get the 4th or 5th most powerful sword in the game, let's say. Whatever. There's a reason why I had at one point 300 hours in a single file, and was still not even close to the absolute end of the end game. So that's the one major downside, or upside if you want to look at it like that. There's now all that extra gameplay. You're gonna fight through a lot of grottos, fight a lot of ridiculously powerful monsters, many of which are even more powerful than the final boss and can wreck you even when your entire party is at least level 80, and with a lot of other vocation training. It's definitely a challenge. You're always on your toes in that regard. So I just kind of wanted to make this video because, oh my god, I have not talked enough about Dragon Quest IX. I remember that I made that one kind of terrible video about a year and a half ago. That one sucks. Just terrible. Poorly written, poorly recorded, poorly edited, and I didn't even save the ROM after I recorded that video, so I have to find it again and do all that stuff again, which I don't want to take an hour to do that. So yeah, that's everything I love and some stuff I don't love about Dragon Quest IX. If you want to play it, you can buy it on Amazon. I don't know. Just please go play it, I guess. It's literally my favorite game of all time. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. It's almost unbearable.